countries that are failing to escape the middle income trap. And so many employees are also in that kind of situation. You ask any mid-level corporate manager, and you'll understand the kind of pain that they feel. Now it seems that these mid-level managers, they will have to fight for survival. This thanks to the attention that generative AI, artificial intelligence, is getting. First, it was Mark Zuckerberg who said that he does not want managers managing managers. And now, the HR boss of TCS is saying that generative AI, artificial intelligence, is going to reduce the need for managerial talent. Milind Lakkad, who of course heads HR at TCS, he, however, also says that there will always be demand for workers lower down the hierarchy. Further, he also states that artificial intelligence is going to be more like a co-worker. But now the question is this: will this co-worker replace your job before you climb that ladder? In fact, I was reading a report in a magazine recently that said that a survey was conducted, and companies that started using ChatGPT, which is one generative AI platform, those companies started saving money using artificial intelligence, and as many as 48% of the companies using ChatGPT were saving more than $50,000, and 11% were saving more than $100,000. And this is all happening, mind you, before ChatGPT rises from the nascent stage that we know it is at. So is the threat to jobs, especially in the IT sector, real? Let's ask the eminent panel joining us on India Tonight. We have the founder of Naman HR, Samir Parikh is with us, along with the director and CEO of Ciel HR Services, Aditya Narayan Mishra, and the TeamLease co-founder and executive director, Rituparna Chakraborty, is also here, along with the author of the book, The Tech Whisperer, Jaspreet Bindra, who of course has worked with Tech Mahindra in an earlier life. Jaspreet Bindra, coming to you first. You know, in writing circles, among content creators, among journalists as well, the advice coming is that the technology should be embraced. We should incorporate it in everything we do. But I want to ask you if the scenario is different for the tech sector. For the creative circle, I can see these AI tools being used to organize workflows, make a lot of them more efficient, improve the quality of our work. But does the reality hit differently for jobs in the tech sector? What's your reading and observation so far?
It's very, thank you very much. It's very early right now, but even in the last 3 months that ChatGPT has been launched, in fact, it's been only 3 months, we have seen that how it has started impacting jobs across sectors. So certainly in the creative sector, but in the tech sector, one of the things which ChatGPT does very well is actually help developers write code. So up to between 30 to 70% of code which a software developer would write can actually be written to an extent by ChatGPT, because it is also trained on the big code repository that Microsoft owns called GitHub. And a version of ChatGPT called GitHub Copilot can help the developers do this. And then on top of that, a software engineer can actually make it better, write more code, and therefore write the complete one. So certainly there is an impact. And all the things that you said, which a creative person can do, many in the tech sectors also need to do. They need to generate ideas, generate content, generate copy, do technical writing, and all of those can be helped by ChatGPT and other generative AIs.
So Jaspreet Bindra says perhaps it's too early to tell, but there are signs, there are indicators right now. As far as the HR industry is concerned, and we're looking at what the HR industry offers to the larger companies, writing resumes, covering letters, it's a lot of ChatGPT that is being used already. Do you see the shift happening, Samir Mishra, in your understanding? What have you seen and observed so far?
The question is to Samir or Aditya?
My mistake. Samir Parikh, my mistake.
Yeah. Okay, Aditya Mishra, Samir Parikh. Right. I think thanks, Vikram, for inviting me on this show. One major thing that is going to be impacting the organizations is the speed of acquiring new skills and new learning will pick up really well, because one thing is for sure, and I'm in fact just responding to what you talked about, the managers and the resume builders and the other aspects that is taking place in the organization. if you see, managers have traditionally always acquired new learning and new sets, and they are there for governance as well. So I don't think that ChatGPT can really, or this kind of large language models, or this kind of generative language sets can really replace those jobs. I think, or if at all that will help these managers to be more fast, more sharp, and more productive. So I do agree that it will act as a co-worker, not just for individual contributors, but also for people managers and senior leaders across the levels, across the kind of functions.
This is part of the co-worker camp, as it were. Rituparna Chakraborty, from your vantage point at TeamLease, from these early reports that we are gleaning over, I hear that ChatGPT is very good. It's very good at understanding, at writing code, and perhaps at a basic level right now, but it can only get better as technology develops. How do you think it's going to affect employment in the IT sector in times to come?
Thanks so much, Vikram. I think the IT sector has been trying to disrupt itself for a while now, and for good reason, because IT sector cannot remain the net employment generator for the country. And if they don't, they kind of defeat the very purpose of their existence. So constantly looking at advancement and being able to do any given set of tasks faster, better, sooner is probably at the heart of whatever the IT industry does. But then, yes, ChatGPT definitely has been a huge boost in that direction, which means that actually, progress is something that we all have to embrace, which means individual progress, scaling up of your skills, resorting to kind of, progress your career based on skills which can very easily now be automated, I think is clearly the signs are clear ahead of us. Having said that, I think it's presumptuous to say that because of ChatGPT, all existing jobs will be made redundant. There will be a certain amount of redundancy which will come in certain job roles, but then it will also probably lead to creating new business models, new solutions, new market, which in itself will end up creating more jobs. So I don't think ChatGPT, which is a clear advancement from a humankind's perspective, should be viewed as a threat, but essentially a means to kind of us progress collectively forward. So I think it should be treated as an AI ally rather than a threat at workplaces. And that's how I see the entire corporate India, especially in the tech sector, the approach that they're taking towards ChatGPT.
It would perhaps mean that you have to become that much more adaptive. You have to see what is coming your way and make yourself a little future-proof. Aditya Narayan Mishra, do weigh in on this. The argument is also that every time a new technology comes forth, the fear it unleashes is that it's going to take away jobs. It's no different this time around as well with the arrival of artificial intelligence-powered ChatGPT. But in your opinion, is this fear valid this time, or do you think it's more the fear of new technology that we've experienced so many times before, and one just has to grow with it and adapt to it and learn different tricks to stay ahead of the curve, as it were?
Yeah, I think so. Anything new which comes, it creates a disruption, and that disruptive effect lasts for a while. Those who are able to adapt to the disruption, adapt to the new demands which get created, those are the people who will survive and they will actually flourish. You just look at how the Industrial Revolution happened. A lot of people, artisans, they lost their jobs because the same product could be produced at a much lower cost and at a much higher pace. So similarly, any automation which comes, look at something as recent as cloud technology. You saw so much of disruption happening, and a lot of people went out of their business, the skills that they had. So they had to acquire new skills. So similarly, I think this ChatGPT, just that this conversational AI has a power of huge disruption. So this is not going to impact only one sector. It's going to impact all the sectors. It has started, in fact. So right from education to healthcare to banking, financial services, engineering, everywhere it is going to have an impact. And it's important that the workforce recognizes the power of this automation which is coming in, and hence we need to reskill continuously. We need to ask this question, that the job that I'm doing today, will this require a human mind to do this? If not, then I better acquire certain skills which can be done exclusively or done better than a human being. Anything related to softer skills, matters of art, will always require human beings. So all of us need to really sharpen our capabilities related to emotional intelligence and some of those very finer, nuanced skills. So I think that's the future. We need to look at that and build our future workforce accordingly.
Absolutely. You said it right, that this is our future. Whether we like it or not, whether it's taking away jobs or not, it is the future. But we are talking about newer technology. The extent of the disruption that Aditya Narayan Mishra is hinting towards, Jaspreet Bindra, from your own experience of working in the IT sector and with companies like Tech Mahindra, how much do you see the business models now changing with the onset and the prevalence of generative AI platforms?
So just as a correction, I was kind of the chief digital officer for the Mahindra Group. So I kind of saw industries across not only IT. So I'll just talk about that.
Certainly.
Just a couple of things. Number one is that there will be jobs that ChatGPT will take, and those are mostly the low-end jobs, and we have to adapt to that. There are jobs that ChatGPT and generative AI will not take. As was mentioned, the ones which have compassion, ones which have emotional intelligence, etc., involving love, care. There are jobs that actually ChatGPT and generative AI will create. Prompt engineers, for example, they've already started creating those jobs. But most importantly, there'll be jobs that ChatGPT will enhance. And so this co-worker kind of thing that was mentioned. If there's one thing I would say in ChatGPT and generative AI and jobs, it's the following: that generative AI and ChatGPT will not replace you, but a human being using ChatGPT will. And so the important thing is that how do you learn these new skills, become better than the others, actually, because they are amazing tools, whether it be in software, whether it be in creative. And so it's not ChatGPT which will take your job, but a human using it who probably could. And that could result in some of the business models changing, essentially to reflecting how these new tools can actually be brought in to enhance and transform your business models. And finally, remember one thing: it's just 3 months since ChatGPT. It's about less than a year since DALL-E 2, etc. We are just seeing the beginning. The rest of 2023, and after that, we're going to see a profusion. Already there are 500 startups, close to 500, built on the large language model generative AI framework, which have already been funded in the last 1 year. So we're just going to see this blizzard of such new tools coming, which we'll have to learn to really become better than people who don't learn them.
Exactly. So staying ahead of the curve is very important. Rituparna, there is this stronger view that generative AI platforms will reduce the need for managerial work. Mark Zuckerberg, like I started out by saying, has referred to that. How would you say employees in the IT sector at different levels of the ecosystem that they find themselves in, how should they ready themselves? Like Jaspreet is also pointing out, how should they ready themselves for everything that generative AI platforms like ChatGPT and other newer technologies are going to bring in their wake? What should future proofing now actually involve, according to you?
I think today there is ChatGPT, tomorrow there could be something else. I think we've seen that we're living in an extremely dynamic world today, where every day there is a new skill set, there is a new disruptor. And I think the only way out for those who are in technology is not to be complacent of their yesterday's skill set, and to be constantly focusing on adapting to these evolutions that are happening and these new technologies that are on the anvil. Let's not wait till it becomes absolutely an imperative, till one sees that our jobs are getting threatened. I think often we talk about lifelong learning. I think now is the time to demonstrate it. And especially, I think, to the kids in India, I think I personally feel, because I think one of the biggest lies I feel our parents have told us is there is an end date to learning, that padhai karo itna tak, and then after that, gadi bangla and everything else is assured. I don't think we live in a world like that anymore. And hence, more and more, everyone in the tech sector, and why just the tech sector? To be honest, disruption is happening on account of technology across all sectors. So whether you are a manager, whether you are an individual contributor, until and unless you are constantly keeping yourself ahead of the curve, we should be faced with such challenging circumstances, and we have no one else to blame but ourselves, to be honest.
No, absolutely. I mean, one would be foolhardy if one believes that technology is not going to be all-encompassing. And the more we embrace it, the more we learn before technology totally takes us to a different realm altogether. I think the key is in staying ahead of the curve and to master technology before it starts mastering us. Great to have your perspective with us. Samir Parikh joining us with Aditya Narayan Mishra and, of course, Rituparna Chakraborty and Jaspreet Bindra. Thank you all for joining us on India Tonight. Meanwhile, there is news that's brewing on Deal Street. According to reports, Sunil Mittal is eyeing a stake in Paytm. We're going to take a small breather and be back with that story and much more on the flip side. Do stay with us.
स्मिता आओ वेसो वेसो
स्कार्फ में भी पहचान लिया